Chuchen's cheeks burned, and he wished there was a hole he could crawl in. Everyone was staring strangely at him. It was only then that he realized Xiaowan was holding him in a snug embrace against her chest, while he was clinging to her waist with his arms. Then it hit him. He was like a frightened deer caught when he realized his position. In a panic, he dropped his arms and tried to push himself away from her. He remembered how disgusted she'd been last night when he threw up on her. He could only imagine what she thought of him now. He was sure he was filthy and smelly after crawling through the hole. He didn't push her far before she yanked him right back to her. Xiaowan was in fact remembering the execution grounds. She remembered how disgustingly filthy and bloody she had been. Back then, despite her noxious odor, Chuchen had crawled to her and cradled her carefully and gently in his arms. The memory made her eyes misty, and she held on to his thin, bony fingers even more tightly. He was clearly from a rich family, yet he was so skinny. Living in the Xie house had to be hard on him. As the young master, Chuchen should have been pampered and spoiled. What could have happened to put him in such a bad position? A few possibilities went through Xiaowan's mind when she saw the look of bright expectation in Xie Qingrang's eyes. "Mrs. Xie, Chuchen is my husband." The simple sentence made Xie Chuchen tremble. He looked nervously at Xiaowan. She lightly squeezed his hand to reassure him before glancing over at the matchmaker and speaking to her. "Just now, this young lady heard you demanding Chuchen for the Shu's third young mistress. How is that even possible?" Xie Qingrang knitted her brows in a frown at the glare Xiaowan gave the Shu's matchmaker. "I did not know Miss Zhao wanted to marry Chuchen, so I had promised him to the Shu's third young mistress." Xiaowan grandly waved her other hand. "Today is the groom's return home, so I brought 5,000 silvers and 8 chests of gifts. The Shu house only brought 2,000. Don't you think that's too little? Besides that, Chuchen is already officially recognized as my husband. Are you trying to renege on the marriage contract?" Xie Qingrang had already accepted the gifts from the Shu house. They would make her pay if she failed to hand Xie Chuchen over. According to Eastern Wei marital laws, the injured party was entitled to twice the amount of the betrothal gift as compensation, but the Xiao house sent over 5,000 silvers and 5 boxes of gifts. Xie Qingrang looked greedily at the chests moving through the manor gates and estimated that each had to be worth at least 1,000 silvers. She waved her hand as she came to a decision and in a righteous tone of voice said, "Chuchen will not be married into Shu house today." She fished out the marriage contract and tossed it at the Shu house's matchmaker. "This engagement contract is null and void. You, Shu house matchmaker, leave the premises immediately." In Eastern Wei, it was customary for the matchmaker to speak to the potential groom's family on behalf of the girl's family. If interested, the father on the male side would hand over his son's birth charts to be divined by the girl's family's fortune teller. This involved burning incense in front of the ancestral memorial tablets for 3 days. Then the fortune teller would divine if the union was auspicious or not. If all went well, the two would be engaged and a marriage contract would be signed. To be a legal binding document, the contract had to not only be signed by all parents involved, it had to also be signed by the matchmaker. A broken contract without good cause would require the offending party to compensate the injured party. On top of that, the guilty party would also receive 60 lashes as punishment. An engaged man caught secretly marrying another woman would be publicly scorned and labeled an adulterer. The tossed contract made Xiaowan smile. The matchmaker, on the other hand, had gone pale and was stomping her feet. In frustration, she said, "You dare! The third young mistress is not going to let you off easy." The matchmaker stormed out after yelling this, colliding into a girl dressed in green as she did so. "Ah, are you all right?" the girl asked. The matchmaker was knocked to the ground from the powerful collision. She was still trying to clear the stars from her vision when the girl in green reached a hand out to help. The matchmaker got up and gave those in the Xie house a mean glare before directing the empty wedding sedan be returned to the Shu house. She needed to report to the third young mistress that the Xie house had broken the contract and that Xiaowan had stolen her future husband. Xu Qing had been waiting eagerly for Xie Chuchen's arrival, so naturally she was livid when she saw the matchmaker return, bruised and battered with an empty wedding chair. She ground her teeth in anger. She had a lot of pride, and this felt like a direct slap to her face. As an arrogant young mistress, of course she wasn't going to take it lying down. She immediately gathered several guards and left for the share house, intent on giving them hell. Back at the share house, Xie Qingrong was trying to curry favor with Xiao Wan by treating her like an honored guest. She resolutely gave the two wet nurses 50 floggings and kicked them out of the house, completely ignoring their years of service and her daughter's pleas for leniency. Xiao Wan realized what a greedy money grubber Xie Chuchen's aunt was. She was the kind Xiao Wan disdained the most. But she still put on a polite face and respectfully addressed her as Mrs. Xie. As the visit wound down, she had Xie Chuchen lead her to his courtyard to meet her new father-in-law. She made sure to shoot Xie Si a provoking glare before sashaying away with the madly blushing Xie Chuchen. It made Xiao Wan smirk to see Xie Si so angry. Xie Si was panting with rage as she glared after Xiao Wan. She tugged at her mother's sleeve and asked in a plaintive voice, "Mother, why did you take Xiao Wan's side? Why did you go back on the deal with the shoe house? You know that their young mistress isn't going to let us off. We're going to have to pay back twice the amount." Xie Qingrong waved her hand dismissively at her daughter's argument as she gave a calculating stare at the retreating figures of Xiao Wan and Xie Chuchen. "It's only double 2,000 silvers. We're getting 5,000 from Xiao Wan. In the end, we'll be making up profits. And then there's the power and the prestige you'll be getting from an alliance with the Xiao house. With that kind of backing, who's afraid of the shoe house? Besides, can't you see? Xie Chuchen, as worthless as he is, somehow wiggled his way into Xiao Wan's affections. That's even better because she's the heir to the entire house." Xie Qingrong's eyes sparkled as she gazed at the chest full of gifts. She was already counting the wealth. "Xiao Wan only has 2 husbands right now. Think of everything we can get if Chuchen can get more of her affection and care. Wealth, power, prestige, they're all within our grasp." Up ahead, Xiao Wan was walking with slow, measured steps out of consideration for Xie Chuchen's injury. She held his hand in hers and let him lean on her side for support. He looked in wonder at their joined hands. From it, he could feel the heartbeats beating in sync. Although he knew Xiao Wan was acting on his behalf, he still couldn't let go. After a while, he finally gathered up the courage to whisper, "Miss Zhao, thank you. I will try my best to pay you back the 2,000 silvers." "You think I'm really going to pay the shoe house the penalty fine? Just be patient. There'll be a good show later," Xiao Wan said with a smile on her lips. She looked at Xie Chuchen, chewing on his lower lip in silence. His eyes were red and filled with sadness. It was easy to tell what he was thinking. The image tugged at Xiao Wan. With a sigh of confusion, she asked, "You were the firstborn son of the Xie's main husband. How is it that you ended up in the position you're in now? How are your relatives able to bully you so much?" Inheritance laws were very clear in Eastern Wei. The firstborn direct descendant had rights of inheritance and rule over the family. That someone else of lower rank within the family could bully him was outlandish. In fact, caning someone 100 times for an offense like that was normal. Considering the punishment, bullying the direct heir was not something others in the family did lightly. After my mother passed away, my father lost his vision and became seriously ill. The house fell apart because I was too young to manage it properly. During all this time, second aunt had been very kind, helping to take care of everything around the house. Since she was already doing so much, we temporarily ceded authority to her so she could manage things better. Who knew she was a wolf in sheep's clothing? Xie Chuchen smiled bitterly as he recalled the past. Second aunt gambled everything away. It only took her a few years to destroy the legacy my mother left behind. After everything was spent, she turned her attention to me. That's when she secretly sold me to the shoe house. But His face paled and he bit his lips, stopping his words mid-sentence. Xiao Wan finished for him. "You ran away after you found out about it because you didn't want to marry the shoe's third young mistress. So you came to my house, hoping to force me to marry you. The Xiao house's jade pendant is a mark held by the eldest daughter to be given to her chosen main husband. This position, compared to a minor husband of the shoe house, is much more appealing, isn't it?" She was simply speaking her thoughts out loud and hadn't noticed Xie Chuchen getting visibly paler and more frightened as he stood against her, his limbs trembling slightly. He didn't have the courage to say what was really in his heart. "So that's why you were so adamant that day. It was because of this." It was an uncomfortable realization for Xiaowan. She kept feeling like she was missing something important. Ignoring the unease in her heart, she tried to reassure Xie Chuchen.
Don't worry. With me here, you won't have to worry about marrying into the Shu house. I'll help you take back the Xie house, and help heal your father's eyes too.
Xie Chuchen ran to the Shao house in the previous life in order to escape the marriage. After getting that settled, he had hoped to save his father. It was just a pity that, in her past life, she hated Xie Chuchen so much she never thought to question why he had the jade pendant, or even why a rich young master like him would want to marry her for money. She never thought to investigate the matter or investigate the situation at the Xie house. But then again, even if the pastor knew the reason, it was unlikely she would have cared enough to lend a helping hand. Xie Chuchen was a stranger, one she didn't even like. Meanwhile, Zhao was still stuck in the dog hole. With a troubled heart, he watched as Xie Chuchen walked away with Xiaowan. It was a dilemma. Apparently his master had forgotten about him. He wanted to cry, but had no tears. Just as he ran out of hope, a slender hand reached out and pulled him out by the scruff of his clothes. He was finally free. Zhao lifted his flushed face up to his savior. He had intended to utter some words of thanks, but instead what came out of his mouth were,
"Huh! Don't think that just because you saved me, I'll be grateful to you. Both you and your mistress are bad women."
He regretted the words the moment they came out. He didn't dare look at his savior in the face. Instead, he lifted the hem of his robe and ran after his master as though mad dogs were nipping at his heels. Yunyan was left standing there awkwardly looking at her own hand. Then she glanced in the direction Zhao had run off to. With a sigh, she thought,
"It's so hard being a good person."
Having reached Xie Chuchen's courtyard, Xiaowan said,
"Go inside, wash up, and change your clothes. Your father will be worried if he sees you like this."
She pulled her hand away, and he immediately missed the warmth. He nodded and walked to his bedroom. He took a step forward, but promptly turned around to look at Xiaowan. Her eyes were unreadable as she stood in the sun. He wanted to tell her he thought of her every day for the past 3 years. But her that appeared in front of him today was like a dazzling hero. It was an image seared in his heart, quite different from the wolfish image she exuded now. He knew Xiaowan was only at his house helping with the Shu marriage out of pity, and not because she truly recognized him as her husband. Xiaowan stood outside surveying Xu Chuchen's courtyard before stepping in. It was a simple, undecorated courtyard. There wasn't a single servant in sight. A glance inside showed an unimpressive room, really underwhelming. The rumors about him being extravagant and lacking in the arts didn't appear true. His bookshelves were full of books. More were piled on his desk as well. They were clearly well used. Spread on one side of his desk, partially open, was a picture scroll. Resting in one corner of the room was a zither. The half-open scroll caught her curiosity, so she walked over to take a closer look. The image of a girl's back came into view. Oh? Now she was even more curious. Just as she reached over to unfurl more of the scroll, a hoarse voice spoke up from behind her.